to date, we have 70,000 merchants. I know you've read our PR on the 50,000. But today, I can safely say we have 70,000 merchants all over the country. And those merchants are actually corporations. These are actually companies. Companies who are our partners, not just because they're using our platform, but because like-minded individuals, their idea is towards convenience. But we cannot separate the corporation, the brand, from the advocacy. Because at the end of the day, they're passionate about mostly the same thing. And I'm telling you, with the 35 partners that we have, and even more that will sign up, yes, corporations can adopt an NGO, corporations can actually help, and in the process, because let's say their payroll is being disbursed by GCash, then it becomes a natural thing for them that they would be able to actually donate through the app because they're already in GCash. So yes ma'am, pwede din siya sa companies eventually. Because currently, they have existing partnerships with the companies. But the struggle is, it's not easy for their employees to donate. What if we look into the common ground? These are the companies who are GCash partners. These are our partner NGOs. Let's bring them together.
Just thinking, we're discussing this a while ago. What if there are organizations that can't impact? You're not, or you have no plans?
Those coming in kind can be made directly to the partner NGOs. Let me just clarify what do we mean by that. We raise the awareness towards their advocacy, and when they go to their microsites, like the powerofgood.com.ph, they would be seeing the different partner NGOs who are there. When you click their logo, you will be directed towards their site. So from there, they would be able to, for example, Lingkod Kapamilya, we all know that they get donations in kind, especially during disasters. But the idea there is, at least now people are aware that, hey, Lingkod Kapamilya can help. Let's bring our clothes there. Let's give time and money for them as well. Just to give you the timeline, right after this launch, we would have several workshops with the different NGOs because I would want to know personally what would be their key targets for the year, not in terms of money, in terms of key advocacy that they want to elevate. For example, breast cancer awareness week, kung eye cancer ba pinag-uusapan natin, right? So before, they set up multiple booths in the mall and they heavy on cash. But these malls are all partner malls of GCash. So why not give them the QR code, give them the send money capacity so that they'll be able to accept more than that. And also, as for your question on the targets, we are looking into the possibility of raising certain funds for a certain advocacy on a certain event. Familiar ba kayo sa UN Live AIDS event? When like there's a concert, then people would raise money. We're also going to that direction. But eventually, little by little, we would do that. Perhaps around May 2020, we would create that big event of giving. But the purpose of that is to raise a certain advocacies, perhaps at that time environment. For a specific purpose. And this is not something new to us. You've seen us in Boracay last year. And even this year, we're still in Boracay. And what we want to be there is we actually empowered the Boracay Foundation Incorporated with our application. And right now, they're getting more businesses because they're able to cater to Chinese tourists and other tourists who are Alipay users. Imagine if I could raise money for, let's say, a Boracay Rehabilitation Fund. So we'll keep it as beautiful as it is now. We can do that through a platform. We can do that through our channels, social media or what have you, and then eventually create that awareness. Ayoko mo nang i-preempt. Pero just to give you more idea lang, no? For example, we had a disaster. Diba laging struggle yung pag-donate? You want to donate, hirap ng bangko, transfer ka, etc. Imagine if we could just flash the QR of Lingkod Kapamilya during their live telethon. It's easy. GCash users would do that, or I could simply blast to my user base. And guys, we're raising 10 million to help this town who got devastated of this blah blah blah. Yun. Gusto lang namin ipakita na ang dami pa lang pwedeng paggamitan ng GCash, and we're not saying paano siya gamitin. I would love to hear stories from other users out there who's going to tell me, who's gonna send to our website, on our Power of Good site how to do using it for good. And eventually, if we like it, let's talk. We'll fund you to do more good.
So you probably have had studies on how much money do these 35 million users get in cash to probably divert to your platform instead of
Yeah, we have to have that initial, but I'm not at liberty now to share the number.
Millions of pesos.
Safe to say, for example, millions could be possible. Like, for example, we talk about World Vision. They have 75,000. They have 75,000 child sponsors, right? The 75,000 represents kids, and if the cost of one is 750 to sponsor, let's do the math. It's already in the millions. Just one NGO. So from there, I think we could do the math and we could discuss this further. But the only thing that I wanted to be out there is that if you have a crazy, fun idea of how you use your GCash account for good, let us know. I'll be more than happy to know about it. And more than that, please join us as we continue to encourage people to do good through GCash for Good campaign.
Sir, question, how are you able to get these NGOs on board? Ano yung naging criteria nyo for selecting these NGOs?
Yes. One, of course, the main criteria is their willingness. So I have this idea in my marching order with the team that we sign up people who are willing to take part of this. So willingness is always a key consideration, but on the technical side, from compliance, because we're also heavily regulated by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, we have to follow the know your merchant requirements. And the know your merchant requirements requires us to do due diligence to all this. I don't know if napansin niyo, wala pang QR code majority na nandyan sa loob. 35 wala pa. Dalawa nandyan meron, Hero Foundation and Alfie, because they have successfully completed months ago the requirements. Is that something that I'm waiving? No. We value our license to operate as a duly authorized entity regulated by the Bangko Sentral, and we will not weather on that. Alam naman natin ang mga issues with NGOs for the past years. Need not to name who's involved in what. But the point I'm driving at is, if we are encouraging people to give, and we are guaranteeing that we are secured, we are credible, and we are reliable and convenient, it behooves upon us to make sure that we do due diligence in all. So yun yung heavy ang requirements. If I'm not mistaken, I don't recall the exact number of documents, parang 8. 8 dokumento na re-reviewin ng legal namin, re-reviewin ng compliance team namin, at re-reviewin ng operations team namin. And that's the only time I could issue you your QR code. Or that's the only time I could post you in the application.
So majority of them are still in process. On process.
But because they're already agreed with us, they already signed a MOA with us, and they have agreed on the movement. We're launching them now as willing partners to get the message out there that if you want to be part of us, then you have to express it explicitly, either through messaging us to corpcom@mynt.xyz, so that we'll be able to process their papers and do our due diligence as well. So as we speak, I have pending 20 na hindi ko na nasama dito. And I think it will be more after this. With your help of getting the word out there, we can bring do-gooders, advocates with advocacy groups. So hopefully you guys will help us in spreading the word out there and making sure that it's known that we're encouraging people to do good with GCash.
So this is the first time.
This is the first time that a fintech company actually goes beyond business. This is the first time that in the Philippines, we are leveraging on our user base, on our reach, on our brand equity to actually do good and encourage people to take part in the movement. So yes, to that aspect, it is the first time. But are we saying that we're the only one? No. The more companies out there who would do good, the better for our country. And nobody has a monopoly on doing good. Currently, we have 20 million users on the platform. And these 20 million users are mostly ranging from 18 to 34 years old.
So the idea is like, you want to spread this to more
Yes.
mature
And-
market.
Or whoever is wanting to do good.
These 20 million users, these are all Filipinos.
Yes.
Do you have plans to also roll out
Currently, through our several partnerships, we're already capable of accepting. I don't know if you recall, but you can claim your remittances from Western Union and MoneyGram through GCash, right? Second, you could also claim PayPal and encash it through your GCash app and you withdraw it through your GCash MasterCard. So yes, because the platform has already several partnerships with key remittance providers, with key card issuers, it's easier for people to actually donate and give and make sure that everybody knows that they care.
Sir, from the 35 NGOs that were how many more do you say?
End of 2019, 100, 200. I won't discriminate if they're qualified, but I also have to manage expectation because we're not just a payment platform. If you sign up with us, we will campaign with you. You would see us talking about environment. You'd see us talk about biodiversity. I don't know if you were able to attend our GCash talks. We hosted WWF there and BioFit. And everybody was surprised. Why is GCash talking about environment, etc.? Because we have an audience. It's not so much about office business, right? Honestly, lahat to, these are all costs, to be frank about it. But are we saying that we're just basically not talking about business side of things? No. We're saying is that we think we're quite okay, but we are challenging ourselves to do more for the Filipinos and the country. And this is our way of giving back, of encouraging people to actually go out of their way, volunteer, and give.